I had started into data science quite accidentally.
The Changemaker. So, when we talk of like modeling, right? When building on top of an existing model, where do you find
For
like
Indians
data is becoming the
who
barrier or
don't
the
go to
bottleneck?
regular checkups. We don't even go to checkups once a year because we don't have the money to go to checkups once a year. Or maybe we don't have the time and energy to go to checkups once a year.
Souvik believes in focusing his energy and skills for solving societal problems, various social problems using technology such as deep learning, computer vision, machine learning. He is also a part of the Social Service Club and currently working as a machine learning engineer. He was also featured in Analytics India magazine for one of his recent work. Let us learn more about him and his experiences, which would be very helpful and inspiring for all of us, for newcomers, how to get started into data science, what skills do we need, what are the challenges to be faced. So Souvik, like what would you like to tell our viewers first?
Thank you. Thank you so much for introducing me.
So
Thank you for
telling me as a changemaker.
and I would
I actually love to hear the name Changemaker, and that has I had started into data science quite accidentally. For the organization I was working on, I had to do that. I had to learn data science. But then,
from that day, the day I started data science to now knowing a bit of data science, I have always seen data science as a platform for change, because if you see everything that's happening, and that's happening in the present world, and that's doing some great change, is related to data science or AI.
When you talk of like bringing a change, let me like I would really want our viewers to know about Sathi, one of your recent works which you have worked into, a very good and remarkable work that you are doing.
Yes. So actually, the idea of Sathi came when I was dealing with computer vision. So
Okay.
it happened that I was actually practicing computer vision when I saw that actually in AI we have a lot of um, beautiful problems, but we don't associate good use cases to it. So if you look to Sathi, what is Sathi doing? Sathi is actually identifying if I have a hand like this or not. That was the initial idea. If I'm showing a hand like this or not. For one of the good purposes was sign language, but then this was a very beautiful use case that I found that could be done with this hand gesture, because what happens is that in times of danger we're not able to speak, we are not able to understand what we'll be doing, and speaking or shouting is not the solution always. So showing some gesture would always help. So that where I began with Sathi, and it's still in the process, because what I have built is only deployable in computer. I think the major challenge that comes to every computer vision engineer is deployment.
Right, absolutely. Like we feel this, we realize this, like whenever you are in a victim position, whenever you are estranged by a stranger, and you are not in a position to, like when someone has physically overpowered you, then your biggest weapon are your gestures surrounding you, and the CCTV cameras that surround us on the streets can really be helpful in capturing those gestures and like making emergency calls to our nearest ones, and also to the police. So that is really good of you. Like because of that, you were featured in Analytics India magazine as well, right?
Yeah, also in India AI.
Right. That's absolutely remarkable. And let me tell you, like India AI is a portal run by the government of India, right? It's a like absolutely great portal, and like to be featured on top of India AI, like you need to do something really remarkable. The government handpicks projects which are really bringing a change to the society. So having Sathi over India AI is really going to help the society a lot. So talking of your current role as machine learning engineer, what are your day-to-day activities like? What do you do as of machine learning engineer currently?
Okay, so currently I'm a machine learning engineer at Rackloop. It's based in Gurgaon. So my role, as the name suggests, relates to data science, machine learning, and deep learning intensively. So the current product that I'm working on, it focuses on innovating the marketing solutions that we have currently in India and abroad. The way marketing works in India and abroad, they are trying to innovate the process, bring artificial intelligence into the process, and scale it. Okay. So the main problem is scaling things, because all the marketing things can be done easily by video editors or graphic designers, but these things are not scaled one by one. It's happening one by one. One graphic designer is working on a marketing video, or maybe one video editor is working on a marketing video or a marketing poster. But what we are trying to scale it. We are trying to scale marketing on a so that it does not need one by one. It does not need to be done one by one. Also, we are trying to innovate marketing in a different way by attaching computer vision to it. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working both on speech models and then computer vision. So it's a mixed role actually, not only computer vision.
That's great. Like working on multiple domains gives you a lot more exposure, gives you an opportunity to apply your skills in a lot more domains rather than restricting to a particular domain. However, like it's I think a matter of choice. If a person sticks to a particular domain and tries to expertise, it's his or her choice, and then goes forward to take up other domains, or like could take up multiple domains and explore what could be the best for them and see where these different domains could mix up and then bring up a solution end to end, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So when talking of like computer vision and the different marketing techniques, combining machine learning, artificial intelligence into the domain of marketing, what are some of the challenges? Like one of the challenges is scaling up, right? Infrastructure is definitely a challenge there. Apart from that, what challenges do you face as part of the industry of machine learning, data science?
The first challenge, I would say, that every developer or every machine learning engineer or data scientist like you, Bhaiya, they face is that I think the problem is whenever we are trying to work fully on the computer side, because what I'm working right now does not require any sensor or anything. I'm trying to work fully on the computer side, on the computer vision. So what comes is that all the computer vision models that we build, or the machine learning models that they are building, or the models or the research that has already been done, we are trying to implement that in our project. What happens is that they are computationally very costly. I think you also must relate to it, that any simple guy from maybe I'm living in Kolkata, I cannot do things at my own wish in this domain, because they are computationally very rich. So this makes it very difficult for a simple person who is not associated with any company to do these things, because they don't happen in Google Colab. Google Colab will crash handling them. For them, we would need AWS. We would need maybe a good VM. So that's a big challenge for us. I think not for companies, because companies will pay for it. For individuals who would want to explore the domain, I think going a bit deeper into computer vision would require that computational cost as well.
Absolutely.
So that's a
Like
big
deep learning
challenge.
poses its own challenges in terms of infrastructure, in terms of like environment requirements, the setup, and all those things. Like cloud computing is definitely helping a lot there, but still, like not many people would be professionals earning. So affording
Definitely.
those technologies themselves become a challenge there when you go and explore, try to experiment, apply those ideas that you have already run, right? Apart from
That's the
that, like,
thing. I hope.
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I hope that just like with GitHub Student Pack, they give something for the students, some computational thing, because Google Colab is good. Google Colab is providing some good GPUs, but then I think for the deep learning enthusiasts out there, it's not being enough.
Right. Right, that's
They must
true.
provide something new.
That's absolutely true. Like when you talk of the classical machine learning, modeling aspect, learning, you're comfortable using Google Colab, working in the Google runtime environment. However, when you go for computationally expensive experiments, especially using deep learning, the challenges are quite vast. For example, if you just take one transformer model, it has 12 billion parameters. So running it on top of an environment locally is definitely not possible. Very, very hard to run it locally. And on cloud as well, computational costs do matter a lot there. That's absolutely right. Apart from that, I find like
Definitely.
there is certain gap in between business side understanding as well as on the application side of the machine learning or artificial intelligence that we talk about. Where do you see that challenge in your professional career?
Um, this challenge exists a lot actually. What I have been doing in my like when I work independently, when I work for myself, what we do is we want a classification model. What we'll do, we'll create a classification model from scratch. From scratch, I mean from CNN. We'll start creating the model. We start creating a CNN model. But when I go to the business side of applications, when I go to these sites, they won't expect you to create a model from scratch. They'll expect you to create a model from an already existing model. Maybe you will use transfer learning there, or maybe even not transfer learning. You will use an existing research as well. So that's where I found a bit of change from my present work, means the work that I have been doing independently and the work that's happening in the business world right now. Because nobody wants, I wouldn't speak nobody because I'm not that experienced, but I think maximum of the people, they don't want you to create something from scratch. They want you to create something from an already existing thing.
Right. That's true. That's true. So building on top of an already existing feature or already existing solution so that you can improvise is the greatest thing that is taking place on the industrial aspect, right? So when we talk of like modeling, right, when building on top of an existing model, where do you find like data is becoming the barrier or the bottleneck, or how much should data be given focus on rather than actual modeling?
I think dataset is the most important thing. I think it's very very important. I have always understood this importance right from when we were using textual data or data in numbers or text like Excel file, to now when we use different kinds of data from image segmentation data like having mask and all, to normal images data or audio data. I think data is very important. Right now I'm working on the audio side a bit. So this data, if you give an audio with little noise and which actually focuses on the text, it will take a lot less epochs to actually train the model. And also I find that the same is for images, because I think data set is very important. Data set is the most important thing. And I think this modeling or in hyperparameter tuning or increasing the number of epochs and all these things, I think they are helpful to some extent, but the main magic should be done by the data itself
Right, absolutely.
and augmenting data as well.
Absolutely. Like most of us, when we get into data science, machine learning aspect, we have a notion that we'll go and build models. But where do I find, like, you would agree to it, like 60 to 70% of the time is spent on actually preparing data, cleaning it, processing it, making data ready for the modeling. Modeling is just one aspect of data science, right? And the larger
Definitely,
aspect is understanding the business domain, preparing data accordingly for the business. That is where I feel
definitely,
comes the most challenge, right?
definitely, and finding the use case of it.
Absolutely.
That's also very important, I feel.
Again, like building a solution itself is not alone very viable thing. You have to make it useful to the use case. It should match with what you're trying to solve. And the output or the inference that we get should also be able to help the end user who is not machine learning friendly or who is not technically very sound. Right? You have to get the output in such a
Definitely,
way that it helps everyone to understand. If you cannot convey, so I believe like storytelling do play a very important role there as well, right?
storytelling definitely
Right.
has helped me a lot in my past endeavors also.
So what are some of the skills that you would suggest for our viewers to like to get started with, to look into it so that they can get started into data science machine learning?
Okay, so first of all, I would suggest people who are in the BTech background, who are starting data science on the BTech background, I would suggest not to start with the mathematics. That's what I do for. I also teach a bit of data science too. So that's what I do, and I believe that not to start off with mathematics, to start off with the fun part of data science, doing things on the notebook and getting the results. Only when we get the fun, then after that, if we try mathematics, we'll have the patience to learn it, especially for BTech students who are not that aligned with mathematics. But if we start with the classical deep learning.ai way, in which there's mathematics first and implementation later, I think the newbies or people starting into data science will find it very difficult and will lose interest. I think, at least for me. So have the fun part of data science, like see the data frame, enjoy the plots, see the different type of plots in Seaborn, see the different type of plots in Matplotlib, enjoy with it, see the do df.describe, see the data, and then understand. After this fun part, you slowly understand what are the different parameters in df.describe. I know count mean, but what is median, maybe what is mode, how am I finding the 75th percentile, all these things, and then slowly you can move into more depth of data science. But I would suggest this is the way you do it. Have the fun part, then the mathematics. Fun part, then the mathematics.
Right, absolutely. Like not losing interest. Like you should keep your interest intact. So make small goals that is achievable, that will help you give a good insight of what is happening. You're able to see, visualize the results. You're able to get a feel of, okay, that you can do it. Like I believe like having the right mindset and believing that you can do it definitely makes it possible to actually go ahead and do it. So like as you rightly suggest, like no one should first of all go and try to build a very complex model, try to build everything end to end all by themselves. Rather take up small pieces of it, try to put all the pieces together and have a complete understanding of how deep learning would go forward, how machine learning would go forward. And for beginners, it would be very useful to first start with playing around with the data, playing with different data sets, seeing certain results, visualizations, plotting, how the different simpler models such as linear regression, logistic regression plays around, and then going for the more complex ones using CNN, RNN, and the other stuff, right?
Definitely. And also try out machine learning algorithms like SVM or CNN, or not CNN, I'm sorry, SVM, linear regression, KNN, before going to deep learning, because a lot of solutions happen in machine learning only. That has been happening over the years. So then they can move on to deep learning.
Right. Deep learning is more of a black box approach. However, like if you start with machine learning, you'll have a good grasp of what is actually happening inside your models, how they are behaving. You could actually understand it graphically, or you could just visualize the different modeling techniques what are happening in the real world space. And then deep learning you could use as a black box approach when you go for higher level complex models. So one of the questions that I often get is like, which language should we prefer, Python or R, or like how should we go about and choose these languages?
Actually, personally, I shouldn't have a say in this because I have never used R. I have always seen R when sometimes when I work as a freelancer, I have always seen people demanding R, but I have always seen the demand for Python most. And I think in data science especially, the language wouldn't matter if we are solving the statement. If we are analyzing customer churn, if we can analyze it in Python, it's as great as if we can analyze it in R. So that's what I believe, that a language would not be a problem. It's same like doing DSA in C++ or Java. It's same thing, whatever suits the person. But then I think Python, right now Python is dominating over R because Python has a wide range of applications, and not only data science domain, in the deep learning, computer vision domains also.
Right.
So I think Python would win the race.
Right. As you rightly said, like choice of the language would not be a barrier. However, Python clearly has an edge because of its huge applications. It is also a general purpose programming language. Besides, it has a huge set of ready-made libraries to use, which would get beginners to get started with and get flowing. You don't have to involve yourself into too much of coding or too much of getting into the details of what is happening underlying, right? So I think that is where Python is really gaining traction and gaining popularity.
Definitely. Also, it's so easy to use and so user friendly.
Yes, very user friendly and simple to understand as well. Just plain simple English
Definitely.
text constructs are used. So yeah, that is like very good. Like where do you see AI data science going for our social good, helping our community? Where do you find, like, what initiatives would you suggest, or like what do you think about all of these things?
Definitely. So this is the question I find the most interesting part of our conversation, because AI for social good is something that has been my motto, and that I will be working on I have been working on in the past also. I'll be working on in the future also. I find that all the use cases that are present in artificial intelligence, they all can solve a greater problem statement. Like for instance, a simple stable diffusion model. It's getting very popular over LinkedIn. Stable diffusion. So what stable diffusion does it can create images from text, and um, it can create visualizations from text. So it's like DALI 2. So we can imagine this simple stable diffusion being used to patients who are very old and who often tend to forget things. One very common solution that the doctors suggest is that you take the patient to their home state so that they remember the things. So these patients, they go on telling several things they have on their mind. That's not the clear memory that they have, but they have some snippets of the memory. So I hope in the future, using these models, using their text recorded, using their voice recorded, we can actually show them at least some images. I cannot show them the full image of their hometown. But what if they tell me that someone's selling golgappe near Howrah Bridge? I'm sure these AI models can Howrah Bridge of Kolkata. So I'm sure these AI models can create an image that somehow relates to it. It can never be fully functional, but half functional. In the same way, you can think of simple things like Sathi also. Sathi also, if it can be implemented in the streets of urban areas, that can be of great help. Also, something that I am currently focusing on is AI for healthcare. I think that's a major area where we need to work upon. For instance, let's suppose in AI for healthcare, there are various themes. There is computer vision, in which you look in X-ray images, or you look in biopsy reports, and you understand which cells are damaged, which cells are malignant, or maybe you understand if there any problem in lungs or not. That's what AI does in computer vision part. Now, coming a bit away from the computer vision part for AI for healthcare, we can also have a very beautiful solution in the form of biosensors and MEMS. So what's happening is that it's my department, instrumentation, and I don't go to college much, but I'm very interested in this type of sensors and MEMS, which are very small devices, which actually change their capacitance with respect to the values outside. So what if these biosensors or these devices, these devices could detect something from your urine or from your blood? Now the problem is, all these things, the values that we will get, they will not be feasible they will not be of any use to our normal eye, because we won't be finding any relation between these values. But with these values that we get from the biosensors or from the MEMS, we can pass these values to a neural network. We can pass these values to a machine learning model, and we can see if there is a relation. What if we find any relation between maybe the high creatinine level in the urine and and the data that we are getting from the biosensor or from the MEMS. A simple thing, I've seen this type of research happening in our college as well by the professors, and I've seen outside also. I think this type of research is gaining popularity, in which they're understanding blood cancer from this type of objects. They're understanding blood cancer from biosensors by integrating it with AI. We'll of course not get a relation that is visible to a naked eye, but we can get we may get a relation if we pass it to a neural network or maybe a classifier. So I think that's an use case, because early diagnosis in healthcare, especially early diagnosis, is very important. I don't have much say in AI treatment, because I find that doctors will be the best person to treat people, not robots or not AI, which are trained by humans. But early diagnosis is very, very important, especially for Indians who don't go to regular checkups. We don't even go to checkups once a year, because we don't have the money to go to checkups once a year, or maybe we don't have the time and energy to go to checkups once a year. That too, I live in Kolkata. We can think of people who are living in the villages in Sundarbans or in any village of India. They don't have a hospital nearby too. They don't have any hospital nearby, but all of them have a bike and a smartphone. Most of them have a smartphone, and many of them have a bike too. So that's the condition in rural areas, that they have the smartphones, they have the gadgets, because obviously the marketing of these gadgets reach places, remote places also. But they don't have hospitals, or they don't have proper healthcare facilities. In Sunderban, especially, what they have is that they have a boat, they have a houseboat kind of thing that two doctors come like once a week in their village. No, not even once a week, I'm not quite sure. So they have to go to the nearest city. So in these areas, technology can reach very easily. When I say very easily, I believe that they can reach very easily. Since smartphones have reached very easily, I think technology reaches places very easily. Even computer is there in a room. In many villages, I've seen in one room, in one house, there's computer. So in these portions, if we have this type of devices which are integrated with artificial intelligence, I think early diagnosis will help a lot of people, because all these people are diagnosed with diabetes in a very later stage, are diagnosed with diseases like kidney disease, in which protein is leaking or creatinine levels in the body are high. So all these people get to know things way later, many years later, because the symptoms that they give are all underlying in the urine, in the blood, in the saliva. So I think that's where AI can play a role, by coupling with devices. For the computer vision part, it's actually important. It's very important, but again, it's not early diagnosis. It's helping the doctors in the hospitals. Computer vision is helping doctors in the hospital by providing an age to classify. Also, I learned that the computer vision model, that I think there's a model that understands diabetes from the eye. So recently I was speaking to someone, and he told a very interesting idea, that computer vision is actually understanding diabetes from the eye. But by that time, if you can understand diabetes from the eye, by that time diabetes is very much in you. It's not the starting of diabetes. If diabetes has reached your eye, I think the veins widen a bit, I think that's the thing. But by that time, diabetes has taken a lot of you. So I feel computer vision in healthcare is very nice, but integrating healthcare with MEMS, biosensors, and use of AI will be very nice. But one problem I feel that maybe for people like me, insufficient knowledge about biology or healthcare. Also, the labs. I don't know about the labs. Maybe people who are in college. Maybe I'm lucky to have a lab for till July next year. But people who want to do this type of research, I'm not sure how will they get the labs, or how will they get the data set? Even if I want to do this type of research, I'm not sure how will I get the data set. Data set, by data set here I mean urine samples or blood samples. So that's, I think, an area.
So definitely healthcare is one of the sectors where AI can work a lot of social good. However, domain expertise and availability of data still remains a challenge which needs to be dealt with, right? Also, like we can see like various initiatives being undertaken, and like people like you who are coming up taking such initiatives, working in this domain, like speaking up, talking of it, discussing, definitely helps and goes a long way in bringing people together and bridging the gap between what we have currently and where we aspire to be, right? Definitely our viewers would have learned and gained a lot of inspiration from you. I personally had a lot more inspiration from you, from your work and whatever you have been doing so far. It's like wonderful speaking to you, learning from you, right?
No, Bhaiya, actually, you have a lot of expertise in this domain, and I would always reach out to you in case of any problem, because I think you'll be able to help me a lot in the AI part.
It's absolutely true. Like we help each other. That's the way the community grows. That's how we grow. But definitely, it is the strong hard work and initiative that one takes that brings them forward. And you are definitely one of an inspiration going forward there. Now for our viewers like who have been with us so long, let us have some giveaway bonus for them, right? The 3 platforms and websites that would definitely help them get started with, get used to, and then get like advanced into the machine learning data science field.
So hello viewers, this is Collab, and this is the best place where you can implement data science, deep learning, machine learning, and everything related to Python. So here the best part is I think GPU and the runtime. So I'll just edit and show you. I'll go to notebook settings from edit, and in the hardware accelerator we can select GPU and TPU.
This is really one of the
button.
handy tools for beginners to get started. Also explore like how fast your computation could be when using GPU. Even they allow for TPUs as well. Like for beginners, I think this is an astonishing tool. But the only challenge that comes in, like you cannot save your runtimes there. However, like when you're getting started, when you're getting yourself introduced to data science, machine learning, this is a very good tool to have in handy.
Definitely.
Second bonus giveaway that we would suggest is the Kaggle.
We have competitions in Kaggle, and these are not the competitions of. I'll just show you. If I go to beginner competitions, yes.
We have petitions, we have practice data sets, we have a platform where we can upload our notebooks, share with our friends, show them to other people, and also see real-time leaderboard scores there, how different people are performing against what we are doing. So I think this is a really overall good tool for practicing and then competing. Also, one of the great things here is like you can also earn money, right?
If you see this thing, hacking the kidney, okay, I have joined this competition, but see the prize money is $60,000. So that's a lot of money.
That's really a lot of prize money in a competition. That's really gives a good boost to explore your different skill sets and then try and apply those skills.
Definitely. And also for people like me who are not that experienced in data science, who are in the midway, I think these competitions are not only a platform to win the competitions. If you go to code over here, you will get to understand how others are doing it. You will get to understand and analyze how others are doing it.
You cannot just go up and learn everything, but you can see other people's work, what they have done, and then learn from that. I think that is one of the best learning methods to use and apply here. We can go to our third giveaway, the papers with code. Papers with code is slightly for not entirely for those who are just getting into data science machine learning. It is once you get some understanding of how the different modeling techniques work, you have some hold over the programming constructs, you understand how coding is done, how the different modules are generated. So it would be really good to understand what is happening what is currently happening in the domain, what is the research taking place, how is the implementation being done for a particular kind of research paper, or what different technologies are being introduced in the domain. So there, I think papers with code really helps. And like I personally believe like reading through a paper once a month, or like every weekly, that really would improve the knowledge overall, even if you don't understand it in the first place. But if you just give a good look at it, like what is happening, what changes are happening, what is the approach someone is taking, it really helps in improving the overall knowledge of in the domain. Yeah, I think this is really good. Like the viewers would learn a lot from all these giveaways, along with from your experiences. They really gained a lot of inspiration. I once again thank you very much for joining in. Like it was really good interacting with you. Learned a lot of things from you, and definitely this would go a very long way. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Bhaiya, for calling me over here, and I was really delighted to talk to you because, as you all know, you have a lot of domain expertise in data science and machine learning and in artificial intelligence, and it's always a pleasure whenever I talk to you over LinkedIn or whenever I talk to you. It's always a pleasure learning from you and understanding the business side of problems. As you rightly said previously in our things, that understanding the business side of problems is very important, and I think you were a very experienced person to look to in that regard.
Thank you very much for such kind words. I am still learning and like experimenting, trying stuff, and like learning from your inspirations, learning from experiences. And like for our viewers, like if you would like to connect with Souvik, you can definitely reach out to him on LinkedIn. We'll attach his LinkedIn profile in the description below. You can check that out, and don't forget to subscribe him, reach out to him, and have a nice day. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.